Mark from Planetmosh. We're backstage here at the Limelight in Belfast with the one and only Mr. Vivian Campbell.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. How's yourself, sir?
Sticking out, as they say in Northern Ireland.
Welcome home.
Thank you so much, Si.
First question, how's the health?
Health is grand. It's really good. I mean, I'm actually more bothered by jet lag at the moment than anything, you know. We just arrived last night. I did a chemo treatment on Monday and then got on the plane on Tuesday, and then you lose the day traveling, so we got here Wednesday. But the last couple of chemos I've done have been pretty straightforward compared to some of the earlier ones, so I'm alright, you know. It's okay. It's good to keep busy.
Obviously you're here with Last and Line. First time in the UK.
First time now you were. We did a warm-up show in Orange County in Southern California on Saturday night there. That was our first show, so this is only our second gig.
Yeah, this is the proper day gig.
It is a proper day gig.
Why was it important for you to do it in the UK?
Well, I think Dio was pretty popular around the world, but particularly in Europe, I think this kind of music, this genre of music is really strongly held in Northern Europe in particular. So I'd originally talked with our management about doing a comprehensive European tour, and we had a schedule that had us starting in Bulgaria. It was supposed to be in July, and it was mostly festival dates with clubs around the festivals. But that was before I got the cancer diagnosis, so obviously then had to work around the chemo schedule, and the chemo's every 2 weeks. So this is all we ended up being able to do. But it was important to me that we at least start, and we're better to start than the UK, you know, and we're better than Belfast really. Well, I actually didn't plan it. I mean, this was just a happy accident that we ended up getting to start Belfast proper. But I'm very happy about that. Obviously, you know, it's a nice city to start in with your hometown.
What first gave the spark for the formation of Last and Line?
Mostly, I would attribute it to my stint with Thin Lizzy in 2011, because when I was learning how to play guitar, when I was 15, 16, 17, Lizzy were probably the band that I was really learning. I mean, the Live and Dangerous album, I knew it inside out. You know, so you're playing those songs, you're playing Emerald and Rosalie and whatnot, and to be on stage playing those songs with Scott Gorham and Brian Downey was such a thrill for me, and it really kind of brought me back to those teenage years and reconnected the dots for me, and reignited my passion for playing guitar again. And you know, my gig in Leppard, I've been with Leppard for going on 22 years, and the challenge in Def Leppard is not so much the guitar playing aspect, it's more about the vocals, you know. So to really exercise the guitar muscle in Thin Lizzy, I came off of that tour and I just called up Vinny Appice and Jimmy Bain and Clutch Nell and said, do you want to get together and play? So we got together with no other intention other than to play, and then Vinny introduced me to Andy, and Andy came down and sang with us literally that first day, because we got him, we started playing, and Vinny said, oh, this is so cool, and it sounded great. I mean, it's like riding a bike. I mean, the connection of the band was still there, even after all these years. And Vinny says, this would be great if we had a singer, it'd be even better. He said, I know this guy, Andrew Freeman, lives 10 minutes away, let me call him. So we called Andy, and Andy shows up and starts singing, and we're going, oh, this is great. So we got to talking, and you know, it came up about this band Dio Disciples, you know, and we were thinking, oh, yeah, well, these guys are out doing tours, and they're playing songs that we wrote, the records that we made, you know, why don't we do it? So that's kind of how it started. I mean, it just started out of nothing, out of that jam session one afternoon after I'd done the Lizzy tour. And so here we are, you know, a year or so later.
It could, of course, in no way be accused of capitalising on Mark's memory, because there's been some time lapse, really.
Well, yeah, I don't think we'd be doing this. In fact, I'm quite certain we wouldn't be doing this if Ronnie was still alive. Because if Dio was still operating as an entity, there would be no need to do it. I mean, you know, I'd also like to think if Ronnie was still alive, that maybe we would have joined forces, that maybe the original band would have gotten back together after all these things. Because I also believe, quite honestly, that this is the best lineup the Dio band ever had. I do think that the first albums are the best albums, and nobody knows them better than Vinny, Jimmy, and Claude now. You know, it was there was a real chemistry in the original band, and it's usually the way with most bands. You know, like when you start taking away original members from a band, it's always a bit of a house of cards. You know, so there's the notes between the notes, and I hope you'll hear it when we play tonight. It's so interconnected. You know, no two musicians play alike. I mean, I can play Gary Moore licks, but I can't play like Gary Moore. You know what I mean? And there's guitar players out there who can play Vivian Campbell licks, but they can't play like Vivian Campbell. So, and Vinny obviously is such a unique drummer that no one drums like Vinny. You know, having Simon Wright or whoever was in the band after Vinny, you know, it's okay. It's a version of, but it's not the same thing. You know, and even something straightforward like you think the bass guitar part. Jimmy Bean is a very unique bass player too. So it's all these unique components when they interact. That's what makes the original sound, and nobody can do it better than the original musicians. So obviously, you know, speaking of original musicians, we don't have Ronnie. Ronnie's unfortunately deceased, but in light of that, I didn't want a singer who sounded like Ronnie, because I didn't want that to be the focus. We're not here to try and clone Ronnie. I mean, he was a very unique, very singular singer, and I know that there are guys out there who do sound like him. And a lot of people have been telling me on my Facebook page that I should get so-and-so because he's a ringer for Ronnie. I don't want that. I want the focus to be about the songs and the band, and I just wanted a singer who could really go up there and give it his own spin. And Andrew's been able to do that. I mean, he doesn't have that timbre of voice, that same tonality that Ronnie had, but he has a similar power and a conviction. So.
The original sound and the uniqueness of the Dio sound. Right, thinking you're also using your original rig from back in those days?
Well, not the original amp. I still have my original amp. I recorded that on the Marshall JCM 800, the Holy Diver and the Last Line album. And I still have that 800, but I had it modified in the late 80s by Reinhold Wagner, so it's a very different animal now. As such, it's a very unreliable amp. I don't think it would last a gig, so I didn't want to bring it on tour. I'm using the angle heads for this tour, but I am using my original Les Paul. I bought that guitar in 1977 at a music shop in Lisbon, and so I hadn't played it for many years ago. I got a lot of other Les Pauls, but it seemed appropriate to bring it back out for this, so I brought it back out, and I had it actually restored to the same way it was back then, so and it sounded great. It's a good guitar. Served me well.
Let's just very briefly on Leppard. There's a new DVD coming out recorded during the recent Las Vegas shows.
Yes. It's a DVD, Blu-ray thing, and it's also going into movie theaters in October, September or something. So that's exciting for us. They announced that yesterday. We've never done anything like that before, so it was a good place to go because we were in the same venue for a month, you know, and they shot that over 2 different nights once we were already in there and kind of comfortable with it. So I haven't actually seen it yet myself. Sure, it'll be interesting.
After that, what's new on the Leppard front?
We're not going to do anything probably till spring of next year, so it gives me time to do Last in Line. We're so long overdue having new music, and that's a bit of a contentious issue within the band because we can't really, we all agree that we have to do something new, but we can't really agree on what. Like, should it be a whole album, or should it be just a couple of tracks or an EP? Should it be harder rock, or should it be, you know, more commercially stuff? So it's like, you ask anyone in the band, you'll get 5 different answers, you know, but we are focusing on writing new music, and we would like to work with a producer. And people always say, why don't you work with Mutt Lange? Believe me, we would love to work with Mutt Lange again, but it's hard pinning them down to a schedule, you know. But we would like to work and do something, at least one track with a producer. So we kind of got feelers out to a couple of different producers, as well as Mutt. Hopefully it'll be Mutt, you know. If not, hopefully it'll be someone else who can bring something to the table.
So, great to talk to you, Phil.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the rest of the tour.
Cheers. Looking forward to it.